Time to re-up YouTube. Your boy Young Mustard is back with another video, and we are here to talk about the bearded one himself, James Harden. I have to say, what Harden has done over this last 8 games in this win streak for the Philadelphia 76ers is remodel his game, go back to his Brooklyn roots, and be effective in other ways outside of just being a ball-dominant primary scorer. But even then, some people still have their doubts. I made that community post about James Harden and that we're going to talk about him today, and certain people were still doubting what James Harden could bring to the table, even some insinuating that he's tricking us. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Is James Harden fooling the league, or is James Harden actually back? But before we get started, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to this channel, and press that bell for post notifications, and follow me on social media. The links for all of that are down below in the description box. By the way, stay tuned because memberships will be announced soon, coming in the future. But without further ado, let's get back to the subject of discussion, James Harden, the bearded one himself. Now, when I say James Harden is back, I am not saying Houston James Harden is back, because that James Harden is long gone. James Harden right now is shooting career lows as far as his efficiency at the rim. He's shooting 58% in the restricted area, which is not James Harden's style. Let's be honest here. He has always been one of the best guard finishers in the league, and he's one of the best guard finishers of all time. That floater is still a really nice move that he has, but it isn't as effective as it used to be, and it definitely is not as effective as it was in Houston. Despite that though, Harden has still found more than one way to still be effective for this Philadelphia 76ers offense. It isn't just his ability to put pressure on the defense, whether it's on the perimeter or just getting to the rim, getting to the free throw line, as he's still one of the best free throw shooters in the league on a good amount of attempts, mind you, but it's also through his playmaking, decision making, high IQ, and his ability to just find teammates anywhere on the court, taking advantages of any lapses that the defense shows. That's just how good of a playmaker that James Harden is. Now, granted, he does have Joel Embiid, who draws in a lot of attention in his own right, which frees up so many shots for other guys. But let me ask you guys this. We literally saw Ben Simmons with some of this team, right? We saw Ben Simmons play with Tyrese Maxey, play with Tobias Harris, play with Joel Embiid, and guess what? Ben Simmons couldn't take advantage of those opportunities, whether it was him not scoring or his lack of scoring and aggressiveness not being able to open up games for everybody else. Now, granted, Ben Simmons is such an extreme that he is on the other side of the spectrum, and James Harden doesn't have to be amazing. He doesn't have to be Steph Curry, but James Harden, all he has to do is just be a competent point guard, apply pressure on the defense as a scorer. Even though he's not as good as he used to be, he can still get the job done. He's a good three-point shooter. He can get to the rim. He's not great at converting them as well as he used to, but he can get to the rim and draw fouls. And while he does have gravity of his own, combine that with Joel Embiid, who has so much attention down there on the block, in the paint, wherever he is on the court, teams are going to send that double, triple, whatever it is his way. Despite some of the weapons that he has around him, the floor spacers, and a guy like James Harden who can make split-second decisions just like that. I mean, guys like Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, they're good players, don't get me wrong, but they are definitely beneficiaries of not only Joel Embiid's gravity, but the decision making from James Harden as well, to take advantages of the lapses of the defense whenever they're paying so much attention to him or Joel Embiid. He can make the swing passes, he can operate out of the pick and roll, the skip passes, he can do that as well. If there's a missed rotation, he's going to take advantage of that. If someone's open the dunker, he could take advantage of that. If they're cutting to the rim, he could take advantage of that. He can pass out of double teams. He can really do it all for you as a playmaker. And it isn't just about what he can do on the court, it's actually translating to wins. As I said earlier, they are on an 8-game win streak, and before that 8-game win streak, they were 500. They were struggling to be a playoff team. They went from being a mediocre team in the Eastern Conference to potentially winning the Eastern Conference when it's all said and done, because Harden makes them a real contender in this conference. They have 2 players that are top 20 players in the league as we speak. If you don't think Harden's top 20, at the bare minimum, he's top 25. Harden during this 8-game win streak is putting up averages of 22 points a game, along with 13 assists and 2 steals, 6 rebounds, while shooting 45% from the field, 41% from 3 on nearly 8 attempts a game, and 80% at the free throw line. Harden is truly playing the best team basketball of his career, and I love what he is doing for this Philadelphia 76ers offense. If you just look at his on-off numbers, you can see the impact right there. When he's there though, they have a 119.3 offensive rating, and when he's off, it's a 111. It's a noticeable drop off. They are historic with him. I mean, I'm not surprised when you have the supporting cast around Joel Embiid of floor spacers, guys that can get to their spots on the court at times in Tyrese Maxey and also Tobias Harris. Throw in a playmaker like James Harden, who's arguably the best one in basketball, and it's no shocker that they are one of the best offenses that we have ever seen. If you go back to Harden's Houston days, he definitely had a lot more bounce and explosiveness to his game. There's no doubt about that. He has lost that first step that he used to have and the ability to finish at the rim as well, but that's what hamstring injuries can do to you, especially in your older years. Harden didn't suffer a hamstring injury in the beginning of his career or in the middle of his prime. He suffered this, granted he was still in his prime, but he was at the tail end of his prime, or at least in the second part of it, as he was in his 30s. He wasn't 22 or 23, he was in his 30s, and sometimes athleticism in that burst, it just gets up and leaves you just like that, and an injury can just speed up that process. Harden was an Iron Man for years, playing minutes that were unthinkable and with the usage that he had. And now with less usage, less of a responsibility to score, Harden is in the perfect situation to help guide a team to a championship. It won't be as the best player, he probably won't be winning a finals MVP, but his role on this team will not be forgotten, because if you look at what he can do and how he infects everybody with his playmaking, it truly is a thing of beauty. Joel Embiid elevates his game, Tyrese Maxey has elevated his game, Tobias Harris has elevated his game. He can utilize role players like a DeAnthony Melton, like a PJ Tucker. And sure, defensively, Harden is still not a great player, but he's getting in passing lanes. He's showing effort. We know he's a good post defender. And when you just look at what he's done in the offseason, it's very clear that he put an emphasis on being in the best possible shape, and he took less money in the offseason so they could sign certain players to the team. It's clear that Harden is all in on winning a championship. Now, I don't know how all in he is with these reports that he's going to go back to Houston, but hey, let's shove that to the side for now. I truly do believe that this Sixers team has a chance to win a championship, not just get out the East, but win a title. They have a good supporting cast around James Harden and Joel Embiid. Embiid is a top 10 player and a superstar talent in this league, and James Harden is one of the best point guards in the league, arguably the best playmaker in the NBA, and a top 20 player in my personal opinion as we speak in this league. 2021 Harden is the blueprint for how he's supposed to play in Philadelphia, and so far he has copied that blueprint successfully. But what do you guys think down below in the comment section? Do you think James Harden is tricking us, and come playoff time he'll show us who he really is and who he's always been? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Press that bell for post notifications, and follow me on social media. The links are down below in the description box. This is your boy Young Mustard. You guys stay safe and have a blessed day. Peace.